The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from the sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. What is up? NFL Rundown brought to you by Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, and what a game last night. I'll tell you what, you guys were here with me about, I don't know, what was it, week 10, when I basically blistered into this team. You know, I said, blow it all up. I was ready for everything to go. What a surprise. They turned it around. They get the win with the timeout heard around the world. Title, I'll tell you what, you know, this is kind of probably some of the reasons I switched to gambling. My teams always suck. So I never get like excitement watching an NFL game unless I put a large amount of money on a team, right? Then it feels like my favorite team for 2-3 hours. But my favorite team actually was in a game that mattered, and it might have been the most exciting game of the year. I got to start with you. Talk to me about the game and, of course, the timeout, which is so crazy because it overshadowed that one call where he went for it like on 4th and 2, like at his own 28 or something. I mean, just so many coaching decisions, so much that we can talk about this game. I'll tell you what, I'm in a great mood. How you doing? And break down the Sunday night game for me, because how much fun was that?
Man, what a game. One of the craziest games I've ever seen. I mean, definitely the game of the year this year. All the implications in it, like not only those two, but a tie, like which was very, very possible and stuff to get Tyler's team into it. Like everything was just insane. Justin Herbert, people are going to probably forget about a little bit, but man, just put the team on his back. Big play after big play, at 4th down after 4th down. Superstar in the making. I mean, already a superstar, but what a game. I'm going to be probably on the other side. Then I don't know. It sounds like you spread, maybe Tyler, probably a lot of people. But first of all, the 4th down, there's Twitter pages, the analytics and stuff. That was the right call at the end of the day. I mean, it was like a 50-50. It was really close. I like the decision. I really do. You trust your defense. You give them short field. You expect your defense to hold them to a field goal. Time won't be ticking down as much. It's a 6-point game. You get the ball back sooner. Whereas the Raiders are running all over you. They can bleed 6-7 minutes off the clock. Then they go and score a field goal. They get a touchdown. Less times off the clock. Your offense is on the bench more. You expect to pick up 1 yard a lot more than you don't. Obviously, I didn't agree with the play call necessarily, running it up the gut. I think get the ball in Herbert's hand, get it to Eckler in space, something like that. But I actually did like the 4th down call personally. Excuse me. And then the timeout. I'm so confused. I know Derek Carr, I mean, he kind of contradicted himself at the game, but the timeout did nothing. There was 2 seconds left on the play clock, so they were about to run a play. They were going to run the ball regardless. They were going to run the ball like they did the next play. Staley called the timeout because it was obvious that the defense they weren't in the proper position. They weren't set up. They had the left side was wide open. Like I expected Jacobs to get 10 yards or whatever he did on that play. If they did, they would have kicked a game-winning field goal. Like I don't think that one decision, and I know I saw it was really weird. Like Carr said, of course, after he was like, yeah, that play did change. But then he said right after, we were playing this game to win no matter what. We didn't want to tie. So that kind of contradicted himself because they ran the ball and they picked up 8 yards or 10 yards like they did the next play. I expected him to call a timeout with 2 seconds left and still kick that field goal. The timeout stops the clock, but there's 2 seconds left on the play clock. So that did absolutely nothing. I don't know. But then like you see Austin Eckler's conversation with, I don't know if it was a long snap or who it was. And you could kind of tell like the guy was like, yeah, we're going to take a knee. So that all confuses me so much. The common sense and logical side of my head says that timeout did absolutely nothing, though. I think they were trying to win the game. It made sense because you'd rather play the Bengals than the Chiefs that have hammered them so many times this year, which you needed to win that game to then get that seeding. So I don't think the timeout did anything. 4th down, very controversial. I'm on Staley's side. Probably I'm definitely the opposite side of the public on a lot of it. I've also backed Staley all year and stuff, but I think the 4th down, I think the call could have been different. I like the move. And yeah, the timeout, I just can't wrap my head around what that changed personally.
All right. Yeah. So a lot there. First of all, I think you summed up one thing. There was just a ton of confusion. Okay. First, we're American. We don't play for ties, right? This is not the Premier League. This is the National Football League. And I remember when I first started betting soccer, I just didn't even know what to do. So I don't think anybody had an idea of literally how to play this, right? When they go to a normal NFL game, it's something they've done their whole lives. Most of them started at Pop Warner junior high, right? You play to win a football game. You build your culture to win football games. You expect to dominate every single rep, whether it be training camp, practice during the week, or whatever, right? The NFL is an unforgiving league in that way. So, I mean, this crazy idea that they were going to kneel and go for the tie, I don't buy it either. I'd kind of disagree with you there on the 4th and 2, and we just have to run the numbers and use the different ones. And obviously, it's going to depend on your inputs on how much you make it. But my idea is with Daniel Carlson there, you're basically giving up 3 points if you don't make it. So
for sure,
and we can go into that, a little more. So, Tyler, I mean, I know we take a couple minutes here to get to you. So I'm so excited. I still can't believe my team's actually doing.
I would be too, Spread. I was excited even going to bed, like just as like a fan of watching that game. Like I couldn't imagine being in your situation. And Tyler's like. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fireworks were going off in the neighborhood, Tyler. It was so much fun. What were your thoughts on the timeout, the 4th and 2, the game in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think Title hit it right on the head. I don't think the timeout changed much because the coach even said it. He said after the run, once he realized they were in like prime field goal position, they were going to kick the field goal anyway. So you don't call the timeout. He runs for 10 yards. He's going to have that same thought run through his head. Now we're in field goal position. We're going to kick the field goal anyway. I think the only way they were going to kneel it is if they were like stranded in no man's land, like right around midfield.
Both ways. I think
getting close to 4th down. You really don't want to give the ball back to them. They get one chunk play, they kick the field goal. So you kneel it and just end the game.
For sure.
That's the only way they were going to kneel that ball. The moment they got into field goal range, they were kicking it regardless.
Yeah, I agree. Like unless it was a 55-yard field goal or more, they were going to go for it to win.
It's nice Pittsburgh got in, Spread. I know all the Yinzers are happy for them, but they drew the Chiefs, and we seen what they did to them a few weeks ago. So good luck.
It just sucks. Like of course, Big Ben all that, but we could see Herbert in the playoffs. Who the Chargers can beat anyone. I'm bullish on it, but like they truly can beat anyone. And I know it's Steelers, Tyler, but man, this team got to be one of the worst playoffs teams I've ever seen. So yeah, we know what's going to happen week 1 or first round.
Yeah, and we will get into that later. So this is the NFL review show. Normally we go in chronological order, but I was so hyped. We had to start with the Raiders there. One of my teams actually doing something. I mean, this is just wild. I don't even know what to do when I'm actually just rooting for a game with no money on the line. I mean, I did bet the Raiders, but still, I mean, it was more my team. So let's jump into the rest of the week. And then what we're going to do is we're going to preview the NFL playoffs. And we're going to not necessarily, I mean, we'll probably end up talking about the spreads because I don't know how we can avoid it. But we will have the sides and totals prop show on Friday. So we wanted to do more futures here. But we'll go through and let's just talk about everything that happened. And for the teams that are eliminated, we're going to give maybe a little offseason preview, a little offseason advice, so to speak, on what we think that these teams need to do. Let's start with two teams that need to do something, the Bears and the Vikings. The Vikings win 31-17. I don't know why. It's so funny. So I don't want to bet any week 18, and then at halftime, I'm like, why did I not bet this game, right? Like, this felt like one of them. I'm like, why didn't I bet Minnesota? Like, Chicago's terrible. Both teams got rid of their coaches officially, right? I think Zimmer's gone and Nagy's gone. So Nagy, we knew. Zimmer was up in the air. And I'll start with you, Title. We don't even really need to talk about the game. Let's talk about the offseason. And I'd really like to know on the Vikings. I think everybody agreed that Matt Nagy needed to go. I think Zimmer was somewhat of a controversial. I think most fans were probably happy to get rid of him. I'll be interested to see who they get in there, as I think they're actually losing a good coach. What are your thoughts on the Vikings and the Bears, and what should they be doing this offseason? Start with you, Title.
Yeah, Vikings definitely were in a tough spot. Like, I do agree. I think at the end of the day, like, you just look at the roster. They come in every single year, and they're expected to compete. You pay the Cousins the money. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Dalvin Cook. Like, you got stars around you. You can put up points. The defense is what Zimmer relied on, like, in the past. Like, the 8 and 9, I mean, we looked at it, though. Like, every week I feel like we're on this show, like, man, they lose nail biters. They lose games that they easily should have won. The record could easily be 11 wins, 12 wins, stuff like that. You got to be a playoff team when you have a roster like this, and that's just what the Vikings expect. So after a couple of years of disappointment, of course it's tough. Like the Green Bay Packers, you have Rodgers in the division, stuff like that. Who knows how long that's going to last? So maybe the new coach is just going to step into like the complete nut spot. If Rodgers is out of that division, the Bears suck, the Lions, like it could be a dream job, whoever steps into Minnesota. It's unfortunate for Zimmer, but you got to win some of those close games. I think the firing him was fine. I think if he came back, like, it would have been fine. But I do think a new face. I mean, there's some good coaches out there. We just saw about Flores that we're going to get to, but they can definitely upgrade at coach. So I think that decision's fine. Or what to do in the offseason. I mean, they have pieces. Draft the best available players you can get. Fix up the defense a little bit. Kirk Cousins is obviously a big question, but anytime you got Justin Jefferson, one of the superior talents in the NFL, Dalvin Cook, like, you can make a case, you can make a name in the division. And yeah, NFC, if Rodgers is gone next year, I mean, it's the Vikings to lose without a question. We saw Jordan Love, like, it's going to be a long couple of years for the Packers. So whoever wants his Vikings job, it's a very good one to take. As far as the Bears, Nagy had to go, of course. Just start rebuilding. We'll finally start seeing what Fields is all about. I think he'll get the whole offseason. Whoever comes in, Fields has to be the guy. Gotta find an offensive mind to get Fields in this offense going. I think Darnell Mooney showed that he has a lot of upside. Allen Robinson can still be good. Montgomery, Herbert. Like, I think they have some good young pieces and some pieces to build around. Finding the right coach, I think you get an offensive-minded coach there. Bears just in rebuilding mode, but you got to look forward. You have Fields, you drafted. He has to be your guy. So get a guy that Fields likes, a good offensive quarterback mind, and go from there.
And Title, you gave me a good idea while you're breaking that down. I think at the end, let's kind of take notes and let's talk about what we think the most attractive coaching job is, right? So let's just say Titletown was, the candidate to get, right? Which job would you choose? Because I started thinking about, I think I'd much rather go to the Vikings than the Bears right now, right?
I'll take the Vikings. Obviously, I'm a man crush with Justin Jefferson, but it's not just him. And like, this Vikings job is very, very intriguing in my mind.
Yeah, I think it is too. One more question for you, Title, and then we're going to ask Tyler the exact same questions. Mike Zimmer, does he get another head coaching job, or does he go become a defensive coordinator somewhere? Because I don't know. I think out of all the Flores would be the top one, right? But out of all the guys that got fired, him and Fangio, it's just like, I don't know. And maybe it's because I just don't believe in Cousins, right? And I think that you have this ceiling with Kirk Cousins and that he was limited by that. Maybe not this season as much, but in the past. Do you think that Mike Zimmer gets a head coaching job to start next season?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say defensive coordinator. Would I be shocked if he did? No, I wouldn't. But I think, like Richie Small is in chat. So like Harbaugh is in talks. There's Flores. There's Leftwich. Like, I think there's other names that there's more upside. There's more unknowns, but there's more upside with it. Whereas people really know Mike Zimmer and stuff like that. I think defensive coordinators where I'll see him. I wouldn't be shocked if he got one, but I'm going to say no to that question.
All right. Title says no. He thinks that Mike Zimmer will be a DC. And if he is, he's going to be one of the best defensive coordinators. I think whatever team gets him as a DC would be pretty happy. I think he's a lot better than our guy, Jonathan Nelson, in the chat. He's pretty upset. He wants to move on from Kirk. I think that there's some merit to that. I think that he might have, lost the locker room and lost that as well. Maybe needs a new change of scenery. But like I said, I also think he has a ceiling where he's going to be your 10th to 12th quarterback. Tough to compete with the new National Football League with a guy that's not in the top 10. Tyler, same questions for you. What do you think that the Vikings should do? What do you think the Bears should do? And is Zimmer going to be a head coach?
Yeah, I mean, Title hit everything with the Vikings. It could be the dream job because Rodgers leaves and then you just get the division to yourself. You kind of got the skill players already. If you keep Kirk, I mean, he could probably win the division with no Rodgers there.
He have to. If he doesn't, then he got to retire.
Then he's gone.
We will not like that.
If you bring in a decent rookie, though, and he could just patch that hole for a few years until he develops, he could win that division. So I think that's one of the jobs I would want. At Chicago, I think the firing Nagy was, of course, they needed to do, but the big one they did was firing the GM because now they'll actually make some right decisions. They'll get the right players in there, hopefully. But thinking about it, I'm thinking Zimmer's getting the Dan Quinn treatment. He's going to go be a defensive coordinator somewhere, and I think he's going to do really well.
I think he's going to be great because I'll tell you what, I rated him higher than Quinn. Just
another name that's in coaching talks, though, and he has an interview with the Jags on Friday. Title, your guy's offensive coordinator.
Oh, really?
Who is that?
I believe his last name was, I'll pull it up right now.
I can't even think of the exact.
I think it's Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
LaFleur always takes like the spotlight of that. I didn't know the exact. Yeah, I mean, if you're in one seeds and really good teams, like the teams start taking guys from up top.
And that's interesting because that's been a knock on Bieniemy when you're the offensive coordinator, but the head coach calls the plays. Yeah. Right. How much credit do you get? Because really, you're just more like a middle manager where you're just implementing everything. So it'll be implementing everyone else's ideas. It'll be interesting to see how that is viewed. So, all right, a lot of fun on that one. And like I said, keep those two in mind because I'm going to ask you at the end which job you think is the most attractive.
It'll be tough beating the Vikings.
I think there's one team that's close to them, but they're division.
I'm excited to keep going. Yeah, because I haven't thought about this and looked into it.
And we're just kind of having fun talking some football, but that's what this Monday morning show, or for you guys, the afternoon show, is all about. The Browns beat the Bengals. The Bengals did not care. They rested Joe Burrow. The Bengals will be in the playoffs against my Raiders next week, kicking off all the festivities. That's the first game there. Short week for the Raiders. They play an extra 3 hours. I don't really think that matters too much. So we'll be talking a lot about the Bengals going forward. Let's talk about the Browns and their offseason, right? Because that's been kind of a thing on this show, right? With me going against Baker, Tyler kind of was higher on him, and then it goes the other way where I'm higher on Jimmy G, and then you guys go after him too. That was a guy that we've always talked about, and I'm getting conflicting reports on whether or not he's wanting to come back. Right, one day it's like he doesn't want to come back. Next day he's coming back for sure. I don't know. How did you think? Did you watch some with Keenum in there? Like, I don't know if he was that much of a downgrade. Tyler, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's much of a downgrade, but I also want to put that asterisk next to Baker for this year because he did play with a torn labrum.
Good point.
So I know it's not in his throwing shoulder, but we all know when you make that motion to throw, you're going to jerk that other shoulder, probably cause some pain. So I think they're going to.
Plus, you're just not loose. You're not symmetric.
Yeah, you're not loose. You could tell by the way he's throwing it. He's also wearing that sling that's tightening him up. So
you can't work out during the week. Like, it's not like you're hitting the bench or.
So I mean, he did play horribly all year. So you got to give him that. You can't downgrade that, but I put an asterisk next to it a bit. The rest of the team looked good. Now, injuries and COVID tore them apart throughout the season. I think you pretty much bring back the entire team next year. They're going to bring back Baker because it's just the Browns. With the quarterback situation they went through for the past 15 years, you got to bring back the one guy that won you a playoff game. So he'll be back next year.
If you were a Browns fan, would you want him back? Because I'll tell you what, I wouldn't.
I personally wouldn't. But I think they're going to give him one more shot with a healthy arm.
All right. Title, our last time this year. It seems like it's been the number one theme of the show. Baker Mayfield, for the last time this year on the NFL 20 rundown for the 21 season. Baker Mayfield, where does he go from here?
I think I agree with pretty much everything Tyler did say. Like, if I'm a Browns fan, do I want Baker Mayfield back? No, I don't. We were on the Tuesday show, man, going hoop myself. I'm like, I'll take Davis Mills over Baker Mayfield any day. Like, I take Davis Mills over Matt Ryan, Ben Roth. Like, there was names and people are like I don't know, chirping me and stuff like that. Granted, I think Davis Mills is actually pretty good and press, but like, I don't think Baker is the answer. But what Tyler said is like, yeah, like the torn labrum, it was not your throwing shoulder, but you could tell how much it limited him and what he could do and how much pain he was in. I mean, you can't knock this guy's toughness for sure. He came out, he played for his team. I mean, you cannot start Case Keenum in 2022 in the NFL. So you got to throw that out.
Baker Mayfield, no Case, huh?
No, you can't be your starting quarterback in the NFL. You just can't do it. But Baker Mayfield, like, if I'm a Browns fan, I don't want him. If I'm a GM, he's not going to be my quarterback. But it's the Browns, like Tyler said. I think he probably does come back. So I agree with pretty much everything Tyler said. But I'm not a Baker guy, as you know. So
one quick question I want to throw in there, Spread, before we move on.
Yeah.
Out of all the rookie quarterbacks we've seen this year, who's your guys' opinion on who's the best?
Who had the best season or who's going to be the best?
Because Title said his name.
Davis Mills he's good. Like
the more I watch him, Spread, he's the best all-around quarterback out of that draft class. Like, in that 1 year, he threw the ball the best. He might not have had the best record. He had the most yards. Mac Jones was in the better situation with a great run game. You put Davis Mills on that offense, I think they're a bit better.
I'd agree with you there.
I'll say Trey Lance, but because that's
really
he's my boy.
I was big on him coming in, but I just think he needs a lot more work. I think the best thing that could happen to him is Rodgers does end up in San Fran next year.
That would be dangerous, yeah.
Why do you want Trey Lance? Why do you think he's the best, Title?
I like the athleticism he brings, his rushing upside, like scramble out of the pocket. He has the arm. I think he does need a little more time, but I see the talent in him, the athleticism, his frame, I just like see the upside that like a lot of these other quarterbacks just don't have that talent, the upside that like if he reaches and if he keeps working, I think he does need a couple more years though. I think he can really be all around just like legit. So the upside and the ceiling to win a Super Bowl, I would take. Davis Mills right now, like he's just the most put together right now, I would say. But I just think with Lance's legs, with his arm, they're going to have talent around him, I think, in San Fran for a while. I just think that upside's there.
All right. I'm still going to take Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the guy, I'm
just talking based off of this 1 year of play, like not for the next 5 years. Like if the next 5 years, okay, like the guys, Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, they all come back into effect. But off this one season,
I would say Davis Mills had the best season. Mac Jones had the second best season.
Yeah.
And only because we're talking about playing with handicaps, right? Yeah. Like Title said, you put Davis Mills in that system, or Tyler said he'd be even better. Yeah. So,
Lawrence, it's kind of like he's been that guy this whole life. He was.
You had to play a college system in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, how crappy is that? Like the more it comes out, like I heard, like those veterans were just like, "What are we doing here?" Like, I guess Meyer was like a laughing stock in the locker room by like week 3. You know, they're just like, "This is ridiculous." Let's talk about your team. Title. They weren't able to get the win yesterday. They lost to the Lions. What were your thoughts on the Lions this year? And just maybe a little bit about that Packers game. Doesn't really tell us much, right?
I mean, the Lions just fought all year. Like, as a Lions fan, you knew you were coming in the year and it was going to be tough and stuff. But you have to like just how much their team fought, how much pride they played every game. I mean, Campbell, absolute stuff. Like, you love what they're doing around there. It's really tough to be an awful team for a while and come back and start making a name for yourself. But 3-13-1. They play hard every game. If Rodgers out of this division again, like it should be the Vikings division for sure, but you really never know. Like Jordan Love, we saw what he did yesterday. I've never been a Jordan Love guy. Like they're in a lot of trouble if Jordan Love's going to be there. The Bears, so many unknowns there. Like the division's wide open. Like we said, it should be the Vikings, but this Lions team can fight. I mean, they're going to have good draft picks. They have a lot of them. You can get good players. We've seen like a Micah Parsons just absolutely change a defense, one player. Like if you hit on certain draft picks, you can change your season around, and especially in a division that's going to be really bad with Rodgers gone, if he is. So I like what I'm seeing for the Lions. I think you keep everyone, or you keep like your foundation. You're just trying. I mean, DeAndre Swift, young guy, Amon St. Brown, talk about up and coming studs. Amon St. Brown's a stud. Jared Goff can still throw the football. Like, if I'm a Lions fan, I'm not hating it like I have the past couple of years. So I like what the Lions are doing.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to hit those draft picks. You look at like what they need to improve, right? If we're to say like the Bears, right? It's like offensive line, right? They need to give their offensive line.
Lions
they need a better wide receiver. The Lions literally would be everything but running back because they need more. Right, but they need more wide receivers. He can't do it on his own. Maybe you could say tight end because they have Hawkinson, right? But the O-line's not good, and all 3 levels of the defense need to be fixed. Tyler, what were your thoughts on the Packers and the Lions? And basically, how do you fix the Lions in 1 year? It's a 3-year project, right?
I think you can get with the way that division's lining up. I think you could patch together like a 1-year rebuild that could get you a division title if Rodgers leaves. Yes,
I think with Goff too. I really do.
They have a decent amount of cap space. You go out, you get them another weapon to go next to St. Brown. The offensive line is bad, but it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. You still have key pieces. Sewell's there. You have other key guys there. They lost their center midway through the year. That's what made them look really bad. He'll be back. You draft a couple more guys, and then you just fix the defense from there on out because that's really their main weakness. The coach is going to have this team fighting. They were 11-6 against the spread. So I think there's a very good chance this team is – I'm not going to say they're going to be good next year. Yeah. They could surprise a lot of people next year.
I mean, they definitely got the effort. I think Campbell might need some good coordinators around him too. It'll be interesting.
Let's think about it. They draft second in the draft. They go get Thibodeau. Let's say he is the special edge rusher, and he comes in and he changes their defense a little bit. He's sacking the quarterback. He's getting a couple takeaways.
That's true. One pass rusher can make everybody look better.
Pressure off the secondary. So, I mean, they could be a whole different team next year.
I like what you said. If they get one more weapon, because you already got Swift who's back there, I think Goff's fine.
Yeah, Jamal Williams isn't a bad backup to Swift.
Yeah, and you can find a Jamal Williams level player all the time.
For sure.
Yep.
And then
that backup running back position is easy.
Yeah, and then Amon St. Brown, like this guy is going to be a name for a long time. Like Justin Jefferson, like he's not Justin, but like this guy can play. You get Goff one more weapon, like you hit on a Micah Parsons, like they got the picks. You got to hit on your picks for sure. But if you do hit on them, it's not like I'm saying Lions are going to go 11-7 or 11-6 or whatever and just take over. But this team's going to fight like they have, and the division's awful. They can do it.
All right. Well, I think what this panel is saying is the Lions will please the Detroit fans sooner than the Pistons. Let's talk about the Colts and the Jaguars. The Jaguars got the straight up win, Tyler. We were talking this on Friday, right? We were like, there's no way, right? There's no way, right? And then we're like, it's the NFL.
That's got to be the most embarrassing loss ever, right? You lost to a team whose fans showed up in clown uniforms screaming to fire the owner. That's just
to go to the playoffs.
To a win and get in game against a team that's in shambles, and they beat you like that.
Oh my god!
I don't even know what to say about that game.
Title, talk to me about the Colts. But I mean, so the Reddit was so funny last night, right? They had the little meme of like Squidward, he's looking outside at like SpongeBob and everybody having fun, right? And it's like Texans, they're like, we got Davis Mills and we got, third pick in the draft, like Jaguars, we just beat the Colts and we got the number one pick in the draft, right? And then it's like the Colts looking inside, no pick, no playoffs. I mean, how terrible can that be, right? Because they lose Carson Wentz and they lose the pick for Carson Wentz and they get the playoffs. And I think at this point, you got to wonder, why did we trade for this guy, right? Like, how much better is he than whoever they would have started? I mean, just unbelievable there for the Colts. I mean, I guess it's just slander time. Get right to it, Title.
I don't know, like you said, like you can't be in a worse situation than the Colts. Yeah, like the Davis Mills, you got that. The Lions, you got pick. Like there's almost every team you can at least say something. The Colts, you gave away everything for Carson Wentz, who a lot of people knew or didn't think he was the answer. It's pretty obvious he is not the answer. I mean, yeah, like you look at it every year or every single game when we talk about the Colts. I always go, the first thing I look at is how many carries did Jonathan Taylor have? He's the guy. He needs to get the ball. Obviously, it was tough. They go down early. The game script was never good. He gets the ball only 15 times. He's still got to try and get him the ball 25 times plus. Carson Wentz is not the answer. He's definitely showed yesterday. I guess it's kind of good. I mean, like the Colts weren't going to do anything, obviously, as we just saw, like in the playoffs. Carson Wentz, he's not capable, I don't think, of doing something. They rely on their defense too much. They rely on the running game too much. Eventually, you need a quarterback to make a play at some point. What do the Colts do, man? It's tough. Carson Wentz isn't the answer. Like, he's just not. I think it's a fact now that everyone knows you're not winning a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. You got to figure something out at the quarterback position. I think it starts there. So, man, I love Jonathan Taylor.
It sucks to try and make those moves, right? And then you're basically at the same place you were at the end of the last year with less draft capital, right? Because don't they have another one going out too?
I don't even know. Yeah,
okay.
I don't
know.
Would
would you rather have Baker Mayfield than Carson Wentz?
Just like why either of them? Like there's enough.
If you're giving me Baker from 2 years ago with a healthy arm, give me Baker all day.
What about next year? He healthy arm, you get to take the risk
Baker.
Is there.
I'm taking Baker because I already know Wentz stinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm probably with Tyler.
I agree with you there. I just we always got to bring things back to Baker Mayfield, right? We're like those stupid commercials that keep coming up on our TV during the games. Tyler, I mean, it's just slander. There's really nothing positive to say.
Spread, you know what we missed, and I can't believe we missed it because we talked about it on earlier shows in the year. Remember we talked about the ginger quarterbacks and there only could be one that's winning in the NFL at one point?
Oh, yeah.
Andy Dalton came back in week 17 and Carson Wentz didn't win another game. He lost to the Raiders and he lost to the Jags.
Unbelievable.
I guess the ginger effect is real. Only one ginger quarterback could do good in the NFL at once.
I don't know what this team does. I think they have to run it back with them. I don't know how they... I mean, maybe they can bring in someone to compete.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
He has too much salary taken up. It's not like you can afford to trade for like a Jimmy G or a Baker or a Kirk Cousins, right, and have them compete. I mean, you'd have to find someone to take Carson Wentz.
And all we've done for the past year and a half is shit on the Eagles and their GM, Howie Rosenthal. His team's in the playoffs. he has another top 20 pick, an extra third-round pick, and $103 million worth of cap relief. And he dumped that on the Colts, and they're not in the playoffs. So,
I mean, literally, all the guy
tight.
needs to do is hire someone to draft wide receivers for him. Just keep being the GM. But when it's the time to pick a wide receiver, you say, okay.
He needs to call across the state and ask them what's the next
call. Even just call title. I mean, the guy probably doesn't even need to be an expert to avoid these mistakes, right?
Rager over Jefferson, man, oh man.
And he did it for years, right?
Wasn't there a few of those names?
A few of them for sure.
Who's the one with 3 names? Arcega-Whiteside, right?
Whiteside.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is brutal at wide receiver.
And they passed on like 3 guys that ended up being like pretty good. And I can't remember off the top of my head. And that can go for a lot of teams. But it's just when you miss on wide receiver year after year and you've invested that much draft capital, there's no way we can avoid talking about it. But
they drafted that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK.
A lot of teams mess up on
everyone.
That was that. Yeah, I remember that. And
that made no sense to my.
Sometimes these guys overthink it, right? Just look 100%. At them. Just look 100%. At them, right? Like you and me, like who would we rather play against? I don't want to be anywhere near DK Metcalf in any type of physical competition.
My buddies and I were, like it's something like you said. I'm not tackling that man. He runs he's out there running against like Olympic athletes.
I'm not even trying to block him if he goes for a layup, right?
Some GMs just like you said, overthink it. Like I don't know what goes on in their head.
All right, and good win for the Jaguars. So they leave the season on a high note, which was cool because they got the number 1 pick still. So they didn't, they got this great feeling. And Trevor Lawrence finally looked like the dude that we expected.
He did play a good game yesterday.
Best game of the year.
I got to think, we talked about attractive jobs. Vikings are cool because everything else is there, but you don't got the QB. Jacksonville, you might not have anything, but you might have the QB. I mean, I think this guy could still be top 5. I've been really high on Trevor the whole time. And like I said, once I realized like the clown show that Urban Meyer was running and the fact that it wasn't, you're not even going to a professional football organization. I mean, from what it sounded like, it was not a professional football organization. Title, who do you think would be like the best option? Because I know it's hard to say who they're actually going to hire, but like if you were a Jaguars fan, who would you want them to hire here to go ahead and build this team around Trevor Lawrence?
I'm not going to lie, coaches and stuff like that is not my expertise. So I'll let you two mainly talk about that. They
need a DFS coach option. Then you probably know everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I won't pretend like I have those answers. So that's between you two to be. And I'm curious who you guys say.
I don't know either. I want Trevor Lawrence to be good. I want the Jaguars to be good. Like it doesn't really affect like the Raiders.
Another offensive mind, like get a guy.
Yeah, I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, his name's right there. Last comment in the chat.
Really? The Marshall superstar.
Leftwich? Leftwich. Yeah, I actually was. That was the one I was thinking of because I was like offensive mind.
I think it's either got to be Leftwich or with the way this team constructed right now and how bad they are on offense. Yes, they'll sign some weapons and they'll draft some. Why not just go get Flores and let them make the defense better? Make it a defensive first team. You already got Trevor to run the offense. He doesn't need the best weapons, but yes, he does need better than he had this year.
Definitely that. Yeah.
I like that idea even more.
I think I
kept watching Flores and saying same thing. If he had a quarterback, like these guys would be like 12-4.
I'll say I would take Flores on a lot of teams. Like didn't
Leftwich play for the Jags though? Like this will be the reunion and come back and coach the team. So I could definitely see it being Leftwich. I just hope they get the right guy. Tyler,
I almost threw up, and thank you because I'm trying to lose weight, so keep sending me that stuff. But
you said that they're interviewing Bill O'Brien.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness!
Well, they do they have the interview set up with Green Bay's offensive coordinator on Friday, so we don't know how that guy could pan out either. So
yeah, I don't even from Green Bay. I hardly know, but like I don't
Unbelievable.
Know about that guy.
Yeah, I would rather Leftwich. Godwin's a free agent after this year in Tampa. Godwin might follow Leftwich, like Richie just said in the chat. They both go to Jacksonville. Wow. There's a weapon for Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that's a package deal. You sign Leftwich. If you can get someone like Godwin, and then other guys will want to start coming.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So
you have Chark back next year. You'll have Etienne back. You have James Robinson back. Yep. So you have some guys back on that team.
Yeah, cool. Well, that was fun for me, dude. I want the Jaguars to be good. I want Trevor Lawrence to be good.
That's your second favorite team spread. I already know it.
That's his East Coast team.
It's because I'm an AEW fan, right? And they're owned by the same people. So
there you go. I didn't even know that.
All right. Let's go to your team. On Friday, there's no way we thought the Steelers would be in the playoffs, right? I mean, I had already prepared their offseason breakdown. Tyler, how did this team make the play? Okay, how many teams are in the playoffs right now? 16?
Yeah.
This has to be the worst team in the playoffs.
It's the worst team. Yeah. I mean, they can't move the ball. If TJ Watt's not sacking the quarterback or batting the ball down, they're kind of in a bad spot on defense also. So they miraculously somehow scraped their way to the playoff spread. Like they crawled on their elbows up a hill and got into the playoffs.
I mean, to me, I can only see one reason. They have the greatest coach in the NFL.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, how is this not on his resume?
They have the greatest edge rusher in the NFL. That's what did it.
Who coached him?
The defensive coordinator.
Titletown coach some years ago back
he was at Wisconsin. That's where he got all his knowledge from, Spread.
Yep.
Well, whatever it was, Tomlin knew the right buttons to push. What a great addition to this man's resume. I think we can just waive the Hall of Fame waiver period for my favorite NFL coach. Hey,
you
Tyler,
see him dancing in the locker room with the players after the game?
No, but send that to me. I'll probably put that on loop for the rest of my afternoon.
And you would see you would have saw it so much today if that game ended in a tie because everyone was going to be on that video forever.
Oh yeah,
people were that would have been something.
Hey, for the Ravens, real quick. I mean, I don't think that there's much in the offseason, right? They just bring it back and they just hope they're healthy.
Yeah, you just run it back because you had all the injuries and everything. You can't. You just ball up and throw away this year. Like
you really do
as much as you could with what you had. Maybe you package Hundley and send him out for something, and just keep Josh Johnson as Lamar's insurance.
I mean, because there's really only one Mike Tomlin. I mean, he might have been able to overcome all that, but any mere mortal coach could not. Tyler, what were your thoughts on the Ravens and how the Steelers went down?
Yeah, my question was like, what are they going to do with Huntley? Like, are teams going to want Huntley? I mean, he made it like he gave himself a chance to get paid and be a starting quarterback. Gave himself a chance. Who knows what that's going to be? But I mean, we've talked about a lot of quarterbacks that are up in the air, and it's like we know what they are. Do you really want them? I'm not saying Tyler Huntley's the answer and stuff, but I think that's the question with the Ravens because, they were beat up all year. Like, you run it back, you bring back your guys. You thought you were contenders this year preseason. Like, what changes next year? You were banged up. You lost Dobbins right away. Like, you had unfortunate bounces for Gus Edwards. Like, they lost. It was tough breaks from the beginning, and the injuries just kept getting worse. So, Huntley was just my only question, what happens with him. As far as the Steelers, like you're saying, is this the worst playoff team this year? Is this the worst playoff team we've ever seen? Like, I think
there's a couple 7-9 teams that were pretty bad.
Records and
they were division winners. They were division winners.
Yeah, a couple of them NFC East winners, like in the past 10 years, were bad.
Well, I mean, I view Big Ben probably worse than that. Like, I think he's a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like, I really do. And I don't know if I've ever seen a bottom 5 quarterback, which I believe to be in the playoffs.
Keep putting those feathers in Tomlin's cap. You lead a bottom 5 quarterback to the playoffs. You have to be good.
I mean, I'm on your side. Like, I think Tomlin's good. You're a bigger coach guy than I am, but I truly believe Big Ben's a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not going to argue that.
I mean, it's hard at this point. So, hey, Title, I love doing this because I watch all your guys' show on Run Fear where you just give the guys the questions they got to do right off the bat.
Yeah.
Huntley or Tua, who would you rather have going forward?
Man, probably Tua, and I'm not a Tua guy. Like, I'm not about to just jump on the Tyler Huntley bandwagon.
Well, where do you think he'd be an improvement? Like, what team's going to go? Would he be better than Matt Ryan?
I mean, I think
he makes Denver's offense a bit more explosive.
I would take him over Matt Ryan.
I think him in Carolina's also a good spot.
Oh,
McCaffrey,
Carolina would be good.
Like, guys that have an explosive, like running backs that the read option, you have to make sure the DN stays and McCaffrey gets more holes, stuff like that. I think Carolina makes a lot of sense, but something where I know the Browns and stuff like that, but Nick Chubb, when you have to hold linebacker and you have to respect a quarterback and his running ability, it just opens more holes for really good running teams and stuff like that. So
what better
teams
coach,
like that?
What better coach for an undrafted quarterback than Sean Payton?
And Taysom Hill having
but
surgery.
they bring in Jameis back, right? So they're not going to do that, right?
Yeah, but I think Huntley could be tad bit. He doesn't have the throwing arm of Jameis, but I think his decision making is a little bit better.
There's a lot of unknowns.
They'll look at his running too. Like Peyton might look at him and be like, I could morph this guy into my own Lamar Jackson.
It'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see a coach take a shot on it. Like he gave himself a chance to get paid, which is all you can ask for if you're him.
Yep.
A couple more, just because I think this is so much fun. Would you think? Would you rather have him than Jared Goff next year?
I think Jared Goff's like okay. I would say no.
You'd rather have Goff than Huntley. What about you?
Especially because he can get like St. Brown the ball more. If you get another,
are you asking me like in the Detroit situation?
Yeah, for the situation of their team.
Yeah, then I'm just taking Goff because like they're not in a spot where they're like looking to improve right off the bat. So it's like just play the guy right now. Like don't kill the young guy.
Okay, so you guys like him in Denver and Carolina the most, you think? So you'd rather have him rather than Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah,
I would. Yeah,
with those running backs and those wide receivers.
I think Bridgewater's better than Goff.
Just imagine
you are a Bridgewater guy. I remember that spread.
Well, I go back and forth on him. I think he covers spreads.
But spread. Think about that read option they'd be able to run with the running backs, and then you send the receivers deep and one of them across the middle. Like you're really pinching the defense hard there. They got to pick their poison with him running it, the running backs getting or him throwing it over your head.
Judy Sutton, yeah, I think that would make. Yeah, I like that.
Richie Smalls with probably my favorite comment so far of 2022. I completely agree, Richie. If Tomlin coached the Vikings, they'd be Super Bowl champions. All right, we're having a lot of fun on this show today. I always look forward to talking football with you guys. The Titans beat the Texans. Tyler, I texted you at halftime, right? Because I gave out a title. I don't know if you saw it. I know you were real busy on our Friday show for a bonus best bet. I told him I bet the Titans at 10-1 to win the title. Tyler had it at 12-1 to win the Super Bowl, right? And my idea is basically all they have to do is win this first round game, and I'm able to hedge out, right? So I can, I figure I just need to win one game. At this point, I figured I was getting, an extra 50 cents to $1 off the idea that they could technically lose to the Texans, right? So I texted Tyler, we were 21-0 at half, and I'm like, yeah, that the Titans price is going to go down, right? Yeah. Then I ran outside because I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have really any money on the early games. I said, okay, I'll run to the park real quick, come back. I'm like, what is going on with this score? This is
Davis Mills is what's going on.
Davis Mills showed up.
Yeah, but they were able to get it done. So let's talk about, let's go ahead. Let's start about the Texans because we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Titans when we're doing previews. Davis Mills, that's who they're building around. David Culley could be out. I don't even really know what to make of his performance. I'll be honest, I didn't really pay attention to the Texans that much this year. We didn't bet on them a lot. They were often in double-digit games, and we would kind of just cross them off. Tyler had a couple props, but even it wasn't never enough to really keep my attention. And I think on DFS, right, I don't think you guys used too many Texans this year either, right? They weren't in very many of our lineups. Where do the Texans go from here? I mean, Davis Mills is the answer. And if so, is Tyrod Taylor actually fetch anything on the trade market?
I think he's personally just going to go into the free agency. Maybe he gets picked up as a backup. Mm-hmm. If I was Houston, I'd be looking to dump Watson wherever the biggest package is because Mills might not be your answer for the next 15 years, but he's probably your stopgap for the next 5. Get as much as you can out of Watson while his value's there and just load up on picks, trying to hit on those picks. Maybe you get your star quarterback at some point in there with those picks. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much what all they can build on is getting rid of him and getting a bunch back for him.
I mean, you almost got to just hope that Bill O'Brien gets hired somewhere so you can get a bunch of picks back from him because he's willing to mortgage.
We don't want to see him in Jacksonville spread. That'd be terrible.
I don't want to see him anywhere. Really.
Urban Jr.
I mean, he was cool. It's like, what was he doing? A coordinator for Saban? Like, that was cool. Keep that up.
Houston does have a top 3 pick this year. And looking at the mock draft on Bleacher Report, they have him taking that Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
How would he fall to 3? Who do they have at 1 or 2?
Number 2 is Thibodeau to the Lions. Number 1 to Jacksonville is Evan Neal, the offensive tackle out of Alabama.
Okay, that actually makes sense then. Although if I'm Jacksonville, I'm taking one of those edge rushers. We talked about earlier how one of those edge rushers
they got their guy though.
All the other 10 guys better.
I thought you would say tackle because you want Lawrence to be upright.
They have their edge rusher already though, Spread.
Give me 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Edge rusher, so it's tough. I think
you got to protect Lawrence at some point, and I think Josh Allen is their pass rusher of the future. So
Yeah, I guess I seriously, I'll never get mad at a team for taking an offensive lineman in the first round. So if they do that, I'm not going to be upset. Title, like, how do you think they approach this? I know you said you don't know who the good coaches would be. I guess that's a good question then, and then we can move on. Would you, if you're rebuilding the Jaguars, would you take a tackle or an edge rusher?
I probably would go tackle because, like you're saying, like if you think Lawrence, I mean, you said he could be top 5 and stuff. Like you can't be top 5 if you're hurt and you're injured and you're not protected. You have, like if you give him time and you start getting the weapons and stuff, he's your future. I would take a tackle. I mean, obviously you have to like the tackle. Like you have to actually believe in him. If you think this guy's overrated, I mean, you've seen tackles go high that don't pan out and it's just like a waste of a pick. And you could got the same guy in the 4th round, like Bakhtiari or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you believe in him and you think he's that guy for the future, he can protect Lawrence his whole career, you got to go with that. But if you're not a believer, yeah, I would never complain with an edge rusher either. Like those guys can take over games and change your whole defense. So as far as this Texans side, Davis Mills, he has to be the guy. You have to think he's going to be the guy for, like Tyler said, the next 5 years. Maybe he's not a 17-year quarterback and Aaron Rodgers, you know what I'm saying? But like everything he's shown you this year, like he just made Danny Amendola look like the best slot receiver in the NFL yesterday. I mean, it's 7 for 113, 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins, 3 for 67. Rex Burkhead, Chris Moore, Brandon Cooks gets hurt. Like this guy is playing with certified bums in the NFL. And he's throwing for over 300 yards and putting them in a position to win football games, like against a Titans team that needed to win the game and played all out. Like Davis Mills.
You know what you're reminding me of, Title? It's like, so, I barely play anymore, right? When I was younger, Madden's real popular, the video game. And I had friends that were so good that they could do stuff like that, right? They'd be like, you can be the Super Bowl team, right? And I'll pick these guys, like this terrible team, and they would still route me, and that's essentially what he's doing there. So.
That was my game back in the day before I was Ultimate Team. I was 13th in the world for a little while on the Ultimate Team. That's why I still know some of the like Rose on Twitter. There's some Madden guys I still kind of keep in contact with, but I loved him. And just the competitive Madden, what was the game? Haven't played as much anymore, but yeah, I mean, Davis Mills he just has no one around him. Like the Vikings, obviously the Vikings have better record and stuff, but even the Lions, like you see the pieces around that can actually become like a legitimate team. Kind of like you look at the Texans weapons, they just don't have anybody. Like it's really unfortunate for Davis Mills, but so they got to hit on every single draft pick. I would take the Lions situation over this one any day, but Davis Mills, he's going to play and be a starting quarterback in this league for years to come, I believe.
All right. I like to hear it. Kid out of Stanford, right? Pac-10 kid or Pac-12, excuse me. That's how old I am. Yeah, pretty good for him. Football team, they beat the Giants. This is another one, Tyler. It's like, I was like, I'm not betting these games. Why did I not bet against the Giants?
You know what pushed me onto this game spread?
What?
When that coach for the Giants said that my team's not fighting each other on the sideline.
Yeah, that was.
And it's like, oh, you just fired them up. And it was like, you fired up the wrong coach who's going to go in there, get his team motivated. They're going to come out and punch you in the mouth. You're already going to lay down when they take the lead anyway. So it was like Washington was free money yesterday. We got
my team doesn't fight each other
in the Discord. He was at 900 and I believe 44 some yards. He was 100 some yards away from 1,000. His 100 yards on FanDuel was plus 630. We hit that in the Discord yesterday. And his yards set in the game were 55 and a half. We had that by halftime.
Good
so
stuff,
we had that
Tyler.
game pegged dead to rights.
My team doesn't fight each other. They just QB sneak 3rd and 9.
Yeah. On the wrong goal line.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's coming back next year. He's coming back.
Well, they fired the one
the GM retired.
Yeah,
but still, like
he should.
Oh, for sure. But
he was terrible.
What's Judge doing? Coming like, man,
Judge is coming back.
Yeah, Judge is coming back. The GM's out.
Yes.
If they were both back spread, I was writing a big posted sign on my wall to fade Giants all next year.
Even with him,
the only thing I can say is the GM did such a bad job. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy if Judge ends up being good.
Because anytime I see a QB sneak in 3rd and 9, and I don't care who's calling it, you're a head coach, and I hear in my headset the QB sneak in 3rd and 9, there is no chance I'm going to be on that sideline.
Okay, so I didn't watch it. I didn't know he did something that stupid.
Oh my, yeah. Joey Work was on. He put it on Twitter. 3rd and 9. QB sneak. Like,
It was bad spread.
I don't know what to say.
Looking
I
at
don't
this
even know.
mock
Okay,
draft,
I don't know how
though,
to fix either of these teams. You know how we talked about, hey, what would you do?
There's no answer.
I don't know.
I don't think Washington's that far away from being fixed.
Yeah,
I think they're a few players away from being fixed. I think they're a bit better version of the Detroit situation we talked about. They have the better defense. They have pieces on it. They get their guys back. Their defense could be back to normal. You got to get some secondary pieces in there because they can't stop the pass.
Yeah.
Offensive line needs patched up. One more weapon next to Terry. You got the running backs. They have them in this mock draft at 11 spread taking Kenny Pickett. I'm not high on him, but if the kid does pan out, that's good situation.
That's going to put them back another 3 years.
I was going to say, I go skill put. I go another way. I think you give Heineke another year. I don't think
Heineke's that bad. I think if you're going to do anything, you go out and get like a Teddy or somebody, or you even try and see how much they want to give up for Watson.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Pickett at 11. I think they have other needs. Like you said, I agree with like Gibson, Scary Terry, Chase Young, a defense. Like if you went quarterback that you had planned to develop, I think you would be setting yourself back.
All right. The NFC East sucks. I mean, I kind of think that's why, and we'll get into this later. That's kind of why I want to fade Dallas. All they do is beat up on these terrible teams. Like it's almost like the NFC East is like the Pac-12 compared to the SEC. I mean, it's just terrible. Panthers lose to the Buccaneers. We'll be talking about the Buccaneers more in the playoff preview. Panthers, you were talking about Huntley earlier. I mean, they just got to fix that QB situation, right? And like every team, they need to fix the O-line. But I mean, there's probably only 3 to 5 teams that are really happy with their O-line situation. What do you think about the Panthers next year, Title?
Yeah, definitely got to fix the quarterback position. You got to hope Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy. The team can go. It doesn't matter who's back there, quarterback and stuff. Your team goes with Christian McCaffrey. Hopefully he stays healthy, but we know how that can go. They got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I mean, you got to find the quarterback. I don't think we'll be saying Carolina Panthers are winning a playoff game anytime soon or stuff like that, but starts at quarterback every team. You have Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the game. Like, it makes a difference everywhere. Got to find a quarterback. But I don't know. I think they have a lot of pieces they need to fix too before we say they win a playoff game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I thought they might be close. I thought Darnold might be the answer.
Me too. That's an L I have to take. Yeah, that's
narrator.
An L I'll take.
Yeah,
we go on the show.
I got that one next day, overnight shipped from UPS there. Tyler, any thoughts on the Panthers? I mean, I know we said we were going to do some previews. Some of them I just don't know what to do. I mean, it's like get a quarterback where? I mean, if it was that easy, right? When
I like the more I think about it, like I know we said Denver and maybe the Saints could be appealing for Huntley. I think he's going to be in a Carolina jersey next year.
I would take that.
He's on like a $1 million deal. Like, even if you don't want to pay him, you trade your second or third round pick for him and you take the swing on him. It's like, all right, we would have drafted a quarterback with this pick anyway. He's probably better than any of the guys on the board. If he doesn't pan out, we'll draft one in 2 years when his contract's up.
Yeah. What do you think about bringing Rule back? Because
they are.
What do you think about it?
I don't hate it. I don't think they should have fired Joe Brady in the first place because I just think the quarterback situation was so bad.
Supposedly those guys just didn't get along, though.
Yeah, I could see that because Joe Brady kind of controlled that LSU team when he was there. Like, Coach O didn't do much.
Yeah, Coach O's like Tomlin, right? He's just like, rawr, let's go, right?
Yeah. like, did you see his first interview after LSU's loss this year?
No, I didn't.
They asked him about the offense, and he was like, I'll figure that out later. Joe Brady used to do that. It's like, that was last season, my guy. Like, you better get that together.
Well, I mean, there's a reason he's not the coach there anymore, right? But hey, he can be my life coach. I like those rah guys. They just hold you accountable, make sure.
Yeah, I can see Matt Rule being like very like he hovers over everything, wanting to like control it, and those two probably just didn't get along.
Let's talk about the surprise of the league after a win over the Patriots. So they beat the Patriots twice this season, right? Win 7 in a row. The quarterback, I just don't. I wanted him to be good, right? And that's another one I'll take the L on, right? Go back 2 years on the live show. And I was saying, Tua. Okay, I was wrong. He's not that good. I mean, I cannot believe they fired Brian Flores. He has to be the most attractive head coaching candidate in my mind. Title, can you believe it?
There's going to be a story that comes out that there's more than just – there has to be more to the story than he's just fired and he didn't do – you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to hear something of why – him and the GM, it didn't work out. He disagreed with this and that. I don't know. Something's going to come. Yeah. He's going to be a head coach somewhere next year. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm with you. I'd be very, very disappointed, sad, mad, all those words you can describe if I was a Dolphins fan, because just why, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Who's going to be the upgrade for you? I'm not even close to an expert in coaches. Like, I'm a fish when it comes to these coaches and knowing stuff, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that he did a good job. You saw backlash from players and stuff and how sad they were on Twitter this morning. Like, he had the locker room, players loved them. Wow, I didn't expect to wake up to that. Nagy, sure, 100% expect that. Zimmer, sure, it was on the fence. Flores, that was a shock.
Yeah, I mean, we're always good for one shock in the NFL. Tyler, I mean, where does he go? Where does he end up? Which team does he fix next? Because I'll tell you what, to do that good with a quarterback that, like, I don't know, you said Ben's bottom 5. Like, where's Tua? Good,
better than
bottom
Ben.
10, right?
Better than Ben.
See, you guys are already like throwing him under the bus. Like, I'm not putting him down there yet. I know we've seen some bad out of him, but the hip injury, he was still working his way back from that last year.
He's small. He doesn't have an arm. He's not fast. Like,
right
what about
him
screams NFL athlete?
We'll see, but I'll give him one more year.
Hey, we've taken our L's on Darnold and stuff. Spread next year.
Yeah, you guys were telling me Darnold was going to be good. In the
hey, I hope he's good.
USC.
I was gonna.
I hope he's good. I would. The NFL sucks. Like, that's the end of the season just gets when you're watching Mike Glennon. It's like, I'd rather all the quarterbacks be good because then all the games will be good. I don't want a handicap plus 16.5. Yeah. Like, I don't. I like plus 3.
He was also behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Spread. Like, get my guy some blocking like you had at Alabama. Maybe he looks better like he was there. So
maybe he'll throw for 150 yards, not 100.
Yeah, maybe he'll get to like 200. I think Tyler's right. I think the coaching fire was more of like a power struggle, maybe between the GM and him. Maybe they didn't see eye to eye. Maybe they were going to fire them both, and they decided to keep the GM over him. Because I did see that come out.
Yeah, and that's stupid. LOL Fins. Miami Land Amazing Coach Walk is peak LOL Fins. I like that. I haven't heard LOL Fins yet, but I'll bet you if you're down there, you hear that quite often. Yeah, I think that hip injury ruined him, Tyler. It just, his arm
it
doesn't
wouldn't
look
surprise
the same.
me if it did, but like I just got to give him one more year. Like,
I'm with you there because we talked about it. What's the option? What do you do? Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, it's like, where you go? Jacoby Brissett?
Malik Willis? Like, I mean, what are you really going to do? So
you have to
give him another year, but wow. I wouldn't be surprised if they're picking in the top 5 next year because I think Flores kept that team like patchwork. Like, if you gave him some aviator glasses, I would love that coach too, right?
You know where I would love for him to come? Pittsburgh and be the defensive coordinator.
Oh, he's got a head coach job for sure.
He's going to Denver.
You think so?
Yeah. He's going to man up that defense. That he was what Vic Fangio was supposed to be.
I don't want him to go to don't go to my division, buddy. Go to the NFC East. It's so easy.
People are saying Vikings in chat. I think Alex, I believe, said it or something. Andrew said we'll take him in Minnesota.
I don't hate that.
I think Cousins is better than Tua right now. It'd be a step up.
With you. And no Rodgers. If Flores is in Minnesota, I mean, I don't even care. Like, you're saying in the division, I'm writing off the Packers if Love's a quarterback. So I don't even care if he.
You really think Rodgers is leaving at the end of the year?
No, I really don't know. Like, I think anybody wasting their time and guessing what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, I don't even know if he knows. But he's like, if he does, though, I know what the Packers will be. If he comes back, they're winning the division again. Like, he's just that guy. It's like, I don't know, but I'm already preparing for the worst. I really am. It's the last dance. He said it was the last
seriously,
dance.
like, leaving the Packers it's like divorcing Angelina Jolie. Like,
well,
you really think you're going to do better? Like,
he doesn't
what do you think is out there that's better?
He doesn't talk to his family anymore. This dude does not think like other humans. He does his own thing. He goes to San Francisco, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, he can go somewhere.
Good offensive line, run game.
He can figure out where to go. And Devontae, I'm not saying he's going to follow him, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Devontae goes where he goes because those two.
I think if he's crazy, he's still pissed at San Francisco for passing on him in 2005.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just saying, there's other spots.
I don't think he's leaving.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
I could be wrong though. I mean,
No,
I thought Flores would have a job this morning.
Yeah, none of us know with Rodgers.
Richie Small says it's a bad analogy. She's been divorced 3 times. My question is though, are the men doing better? Tyler, what do you think?
You threw me off with that. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Let's just go to the Saints and Falcons.
I'm with you. I was wondering.
Yeah, I was about to say, you threw the question to me, and I have no idea where we're at.
I usually do really good here on the hosting, right? I'm having too much fun today. Let's go to the Saints and the Falcons. Both teams eliminated, right? I don't know. What do you guys do here from here for both these teams? Start with you.
Falcons. I mean, they said they're bringing back Matt Ryan. I don't think that's a good idea. I would tell him to go home.
Who else are you going to get though?
Go spend
anybody
time
but him.
Yeah, go spend time with your family. I would just draft offensive. If there's any team that was like, we're just going to tank next year and get one of the better quarterbacks coming out, we're just going to draft a bunch of linemen and defense, it should be the Falcons. You already have Kyle Pitts. Don't kill him trying to win 4 games in a season. Patch your team together. Draft your franchise quarterback next year when there's good ones coming out, and just go from there. As for the Saints, I mean, injuries killed them. The defense is still great, and Kamara's still good. You need to draft a receiver. I see the mock draft hasn't taken the kid out of Ohio State, Olave. That could be a good pick. And then you just got to get the quarterback spot right. See if Winston's your guy, or maybe you trade for somebody.
I think both these teams are real close. What do you think, Tito?
I'm going to bet against the Falcons every single game next year if Matt Ryan's the quarterback. I just think I think we're about to see Big Ben like this year, kind of. I mean, I think this guy's complete dust. So if he comes back, I think it's free money against the Falcons every single time. As far as the Saints, yeah, I agree with Tyler. You got to find weapons. We'll love the dude out of Ohio State there. Did a quarterback? That's the big question. You got to get a quarterback right, but got Kamara. If you'd get a weapon like that, you can even maybe sign another weapon. The defense is there. You still have Sean Payton. I mean, Saints, I'm not writing them off for sure, but Falcons, yeah, I'm a huge I'm not a big Matt Ryan guy.
Since we're on him right now, I just got news. Taysom Hill to have 2 surgeries. He's expected to undergo surgery for his Liggs-Frank injury sustained in his left foot on Sunday. Hill also is expected to need a smaller follow-up surgery. There is no specific timetable for his return.
Yep.
Title, can you do me a favor and check in on Big T for me? Make sure he's okay after getting that terrible news.
Well, that and Wentz with him. I don't know what big.
Didn't he jump on the Herbert train too, and that died?
Yeah, he did. That didn't die, but
yeah,
I think it was for the future.
Playoffs,
yeah. Big. Hey, at least he's got some Lance to make him dance. Giblet said he made on Saturday.
There we go.
Jets and Bills. So we'll talk about the Bills later. Jets in a pretty tough situation, but you know what? They didn't play that bad towards the end of the season. I don't know. It just seems like, you got your quarterback. You're going with Zach. You just try and hit some of these draft picks. I guess the only controversy coming out here is like Mekhi Becton. I've read some reports that they want to get rid of him, which would be wild. But if you think the guy that stepped in and took his replacement actually graded out really good on PFF, what are your thoughts on the Jets for the offseason?
I mean, it's the Jets. Swing on the draft again. Give Zach Wilson a few more years, see what happens. They're probably going to be picking right where they are again this year. The bright spot of this year is they have 2 swings at it spread, so they can strike twice. Because we all know they're going to pick the wrong guy.
Unbelievable. Title, are you as down on the Jets as Tyler?
Yep. Don't have too many more words. I think Tyler hit it right on the head.
All right, let's just move on. Seahawks and Cardinals. Do you think we'll talk about the Cardinals later? Do you think the Seahawks keep Russell Wilson next year? He asked to be traded last year. They denied his request. Did they bring Pete Carroll back? What happens in Seattle, Titletown?
I think Pete Carroll's gone. I think Russell Wilson wants out. Then
are they going to give it to him though? Or why would you trade him?
Why would you trade him? Is right. You shouldn't want to trade him. I don't know. Like all this.
What would it take? 4 first rounders? Like you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Russell Wilson wants to be there. I do not think Pete Carroll's returning, but didn't think Flores is going to be fired. So who knows about that? But I really think Russ does want out. I mean, he's so talented. Like a year like this has to just obviously he was hurt for a little while and stuff. He has DK, Mock and stuff. But Penny, man, talk about a guy that looked good though. Rashad Penny late in the year, that dude showed burst. Another one up for running back doesn't matter because they just. All these guys that you put them in and they just absolutely crush. But, man, he looked good. Their defense obviously looked concerned. I don't think Pete Carroll comes back, though. I don't think Russell Wilson wants to. But, yeah, you're right. Like, why would you trade him if you're the Seahawks and you get a new coach? Like, if he's gone, you're screwed for a long time.
Tyler, what are your thoughts on Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pete Carroll's 100% gone. Now, Russ, I think maybe they try and convince him to stay. They did look good in those last few games with those offensive weapons. So you figure they patch together an offensive line, build the defense. But just like you said, he probably demanded his way out last year. We had reports of it. They tried to say they weren't true. I think you call up Chicago. Maybe you try and get them to dump a couple first-round picks. Maybe even just take Fields back with them and take the swing on him. He wouldn't be the worst guy in the situation. He does have a lot of what do they call it on PFF spread? The big throw percentage.
Oh yeah, big time throws.
Big time throws.
Yeah,
he's like the highest percentage. What better receiving core than Lockett and DK for that? Where he just throws it down the field 40 yards and lets him go and get it. So I don't hate that.
I mean, we got to start cloning these offensive linemen. It's another team with a bad offensive line, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how many teams have bad offensive line.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about the Cardinals because they'll be part of our preview. The 49ers and the Rams. I mean, these will both be part of our previews. But the only thing I got to say is, man, what happened, man? The Rams were up 17-0. Just unbelievable. What do you make of this team, Titletown? Because we'll talk about it later this week. But, gosh, I don't know what to make of the Rams, man. You know I love them. And then they do things like that, and it's like, how could you trust this team?
I'm with you. At home as well, like no timeouts. Jimmy Garoppolo, who, yeah, I mean, props to you, Spread. That's a big-time drive for Jimmy right there. But, man.
But I bet on the Rams, so I wish I was wrong. I'll take that L on Jimmy. He can go Dave point starts for all I care. I would have rather won that bet.
No, for sure. I mean, man, like, no timeouts. Like, you have everything you need. You want to win this football game. Like, if he does that to you, what's Aaron Rodgers going to do to you with 3 timeouts? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's good teams in the NFC. I'm concerned for the Rams. Yeah, I'd be surprised to see if they make any noise in the playoffs, to be honest. Yeah, maybe they can squeak by. Who do they got round 1? They got the playoff.
They play Arizona.
Cardinals. They got the Cardinals. I think we talked about it recently. I'm on the Cardinals on that one. A little early prediction, but
that's a shame that the two teams I wanted to fade in the playoffs got to play each other in the first round.
Yeah, it's like the Celtics playing the Pacers tonight. Tyler, what? You got to feel my pain there, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Feel your pain, Spread. I tried to keep you away from that pain earlier in the year when everyone was holding up that Rams trophy. I'm like, put that down. I'm like, Stafford's still going to Stafford, and everyone's like, this is the shiny new toy. This team's going to win it. I'm like, put that down. They are not going to do anything. Stafford's going to screw this up. Here we are.
Did he screw that up yesterday? Did you feel?
2 interceptions, 5 sacks. The offensive line looks bad, Spread. I mean, he is a statue back there. It's either cup or bust, really. So, I mean, they're probably going to win round 1 because it's the Cardinals, and I think McVay's going to have the coaching advantage over Kingsbury. Mm-hmm. But give me whoever they're playing in the second round.
Who is this in the chat? Oh, viral video. Is it me? Is it just Kingsbury, king of a dunce? Yeah, wow, unbelievable there. Mike says, I think the Rams smoke AZ and then lose the following week. That was
what's the opening line? I haven't looked at it.
Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
I think -4 for the Rams in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I knew it was
I think he's right. I think they're going to smoke them, and then whoever they draw in the second round is just going to punch them right in the mouth.
Ooh, give me Kyler.
It's just too bad, man. It's just too bad.
I can't trust the quarterback as big as me.
Because, Tyler, I have to hold
J.J. Watt. He'll be back. J.J. Watt's going to start making a difference on Stafford.
The 49ers just punched him in the mouth. I mean, they were just the tougher team.
I mean, they couldn't stop Elijah Mitchell. He absolutely Linus. I mean, yeah, 21 for 85 doesn't really prove it as much. Debo 8 for 45. But the later that game went on, like the more they started dominating the line of possession, the physicality was all over the 49ers. Like you could tell hard-nosed football. The momentum was changing the longer that game went.
I really wish Debo would have caught a touchdown yesterday because then you would have threw a touchdown, ran a touchdown, and caught one.
I know he might as well kick the field goal at that point. And I think that's where
Robbie Gould.
Some of these stats don't really say just the mental effect when they were just lining it up, right? And running it down your throat. And we love Aaron Donald, right? And he just, they took him out of that game. Wow. Unbelievable. So we'll talk
Robbie
about
Gould.
that.
Before that, Robbie Gould, big time punts to even keep him in that. I don't know if you were watching, but
they lost their punter.
Yeah, Robbie Gould was punting for him, and he had two in their own territory where he needed to get it out and like flip the field so the 3 timeouts matter and they couldn't kick a field goal. Like it was pretty cool to see Robbie Gould do that.
Coop, I did a show with Coop. He's a big advocate that you're wasting a roster spot with a punter and a kicker. And he said, get you a man who can do both.
Hey,
all right.
Next level thinking.
Why don't we jump into the props? Okay, let's talk about some things that we could play going forward. I know that you have like Super Bowl matchups and stuff there on DK. So, Tyler, I mean, just a quick look, like what's standing out to you? Let me read them out real quick. I should have been prepared. Let me pull up football futures, NFL. I'm going off bookmaker.com. So to win the AFC, the Buffalo Bills are plus 340, the Raiders plus 2150, Titans plus 306, Bengals plus 745, Patriots plus 985, Chiefs plus 185, Steelers plus 3,500. That's probably too low. To win, let's see. They don't have NFC numbers up. I'm sorry, I should have pulled some. Oh, they do. NFC, Arizona plus 1491, Rams plus 496, Bucks plus 381, Cowboys plus 531, Philadelphia Eagles plus 4,000. They got a better chance than the Steelers. Niners plus 1,005, Packers the favorite at plus 147. Start with you, Tyler. Any of those numbers jump out to you? And like I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to bet the favorites. Like, who do you think is a nice dark horse candidate here?
12-1. Give me San Fran coming out the NFC spread. Look at the way this match is up. Every team in the NFC right now is a pass-heavy offense. Arizona, Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa, Rams. What are they all bad at right now? Stopping the run. What's San Fran going to do to every single one of these teams? Run it right down their goddamn throat. It's
kind of why I like Dallas in that first game.
Yeah, if they're
Niners over Dallas.
Yeah, if their defense can put it together and play good games, these weapons are just going to give teams so much troubles. Green Bay could stumble in that NFC Championship game again. We've seen it happen before. San Fran could be that team that does it again. So give me them 12-1. That's one that's sticking out. Right.
See, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, though. I mean, we could all say, "Oh, Packers." Okay, whoop-de-doo, plus 145, right? I like that you went ahead and took that one. Title
saying in the chat, like right now, Bucks run defense is stout. That was the first 14 weeks of the year. They've got the ball ran down their throat for these past couple weeks. If they run into San Fran and their defense looks anything like it's did the past couple weeks, they're in trouble.
Man, and I'm going to be eating
and I was
so
high
many
on
L's if that happens.
I'm going to say spreads talking pre-show, Eagles over the Bucks, like the number's already too
wide.
No,
I said plus 9.5.
I said the number was too wide.
Yeah. Title, do you have those pulled up? And is there anything like, I mean, you can even do like a Super Bowl matchup if you want, just some sort of long shot, right? Like we don't want to bet the Chiefs and the
Packers. You know where I'm going. Come on, spread. How we've done this show well, you know where I'm going.
Green Bay won the Super Bowl.
No, Cincinnati.
Yes, plus 800. I see. I mean, this team, I've been on them all year, right? Like, why would I jump off now when they're playing their best football they have? They get the Raiders home field. Like, yeah, great for the Raiders. I think it's a good story, but I think the Bengals are just a better football team all around. Plus 800. Maybe you could even book shop or shop around a little more than that. After that, what? It's either the Patriots who. We talked about it, like just the offense. We talked about in the past, like the Bengals offense that they play at home too. It's just much better, much more explosive. Otherwise, you play the Bills, and I like the Bills a little bit, but plus 800 after that. Of course, then you could hedge if you wanted, but then it's what? Tennessee. I'm looking at it right. It's either Tennessee or the Steelers. Not going to be this, or Tennessee or the Chiefs. I mean, the Bengals, like we just saw with the Bengals can score with anyone. They have the weapons. Plus 800. I think they get by the Raiders too. And then, give me Bengals plus 800. You know where it's going. I love the talent they have. They're playing as good a football as they can. Plus 800 Bengals. And what's Bengals Packers? Let me pull that up. Bengals Packers.
If you trust us both, Bengals Niners is 100-1.
Well, you know I can't go against my pack, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the value
you can for $10.
Yeah,
22-1 title on
22-1. Maybe throw a little bit on both of those. So yeah,
my two teams out of the AFC, if I had to pick two, definitely the Bengals, and I'm sticking with spread's idea of the Titans because with them getting Derrick Henry back, like if there's any freak of nature that could just walk onto the field and just take back over the game, it's Derrick Henry.
And it would be the same idea that you talked about with why the Niners would make it, right? Because they could just line up and run the ball. Let me bolster your argument real quick, Title, because I think this is an interesting exercise. Rank the quarterbacks in the on the AFC, right? I think we can say Patrick Mahomes is number 1, right?
Yep.
Are you ready to put Joe Burrow at number 2?
I'm not. I'm still Josh Allen. I'm still Josh Allen.
See, I think I'd rather have Joe Burrow. Like, to me, Josh Allen's got
I think I'm putting somebody else at number 2.
Who?
Stop.
There's no chance I'm putting Josh Allen at number 2 after he played one good year and he had this mediocre year.
Taking Allen for sure.
So who's 2?
Are you taking Tannehill?
I can't put Joe Burrow 2, but I'm putting Tannehill 2.
I knew you were going to say Tannehill.
No way.
I don't trust Josh Allen.
I guess you can.
I go Josh Allen 2, Burrow
Allen 3.
Mine goes Mahomes, Tannehill, Burrow, then Josh Allen.
Wow,
I might even have Derek Carr ahead of Josh Allen.
Get out of here! Now you're just speaking for fun. Get out of here with that.
I don't think Josh Allen's all that.
My thing on Burrow over Allen.
Accuracy is poor. He could run the ball, but like he could be a loose cannon at any moment. We've seen it.
Definitely, you're right about that. There's some throws like when his feet aren't set and he just tries to like. There is some things that do make me mad. Like, man, just step into that throw. Like be like. But I just love everything. Yeah, it'll be fun. That's it. Yeah. Let's go to the end. Let's go to the NFC. You two answer that question in the NFC.
All right, NFC quarterbacks. Rodgers number 1, right?
Yeah. Brady's 2.
Yeah.
Brady 2.
Then it's interesting.
Tyler's 3.
I agree.
Tyler's 3. Dak's 4. Stafford's 5.
That is tough in the end. Yeah,
you got Kyler over Dak, huh?
Yeah,
those 3 are really tough in my opinion. Once you get after Rodgers and Brady,
I think Stafford's a statue.
I knew. Yeah, that was.
I think all 3 of us. If all 3 of us could just get the ball to Cooper Kupp, we could all look the halfway decent as him. So
Tyler has to have Stafford over Jimmy G, right? Tyler, you got that?
Stafford over Jimmy G.
Do you think Jimmy G's just who's better, Jimmy G or Jalen Hurts? Is Jimmy G the worst one in the whole group?
No, give me Jimmy G. I think
you have him 6th of the playoffs.
I got Hurts.
Yeah,
you got Hurts over Jimmy G.
I got Jimmy G.
God, I joked about it on the other show, Tyler. I said in most cases winning cures everything, but with Jimmy G, the guy can't even win when he wins the games. Unbelievable.
Uncle T's with you. He said he got Burrow over Allen spread.
Yeah, I mean,
where does Uncle T live? Who's his favorite team? Who's his favorite team? Yeah, he's a Cincy
It doesn't matter. This is just great analysis from Uncle T. Thank you, Terry. All right, guys. Anything more you guys want to talk about for the playoffs? So Tyler and I will do the full sides and totals on Friday. Tyler, we had talked about though, was there anyone that we thought we should give out now because we thought the line would move? So I don't think Raiders Bengals is going to move, right? That's going to be at 6, whether you like it or not, right? Right around there, maybe 6.5, maybe 5.5, right? But I don't think you lose a good value. Patriots and Bills, can you see? I think that one's going to stay the same too. There's going to
I think it just kind of it's going to hang right there because you figure the way the first 2 games were lined, and now this line kind of falls right in between them. It's just going to stay right where it's at.
Look ahead for weather. I haven't looked there, but we know Buffalo.
Yeah, that's going to be big in that Buffalo game.
Yeah,
weather could be big in that area.
Yeah, I'd look ahead for that for sure.
Eagles already down to 8.5. Tyler, see, I was right. It was it opened at 9.5. Do we grab that now, or do you think it settles in? It's way too high.
It could drop to 7. I could see it, but I think Tampa's the side. You think I should
bet it now, or you just think it's a stupid bet?
I think Tampa's the side here, so I'm not running to bet the Eagles, even if I can get a 1.5 of CLV. If they drop down to 7, I'll gladly tease them down to 1.
Oh, the teaser. Even at I would even go like at 8.5. You can tease the 2.5.
Yeah, but I think just like you said, I think people are going to keep buying in on the Eagles here.
Mm-hmm.
Brady's just going to torch this defense.
Mm-hmm.
If I could tease them down to 1 and Cincy down to 0, that's going to be my bet on Saturday.
Okay, I'm fine waiting on that one then. Niners +3. I kind of like matchup with San Francisco, but let's try and figure out which way this line goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you could wait on this one. I don't think the line drastically moves.
Yeah.
The total
Cowboys are so popular, right?
I think the total could go up a couple points. I think 50.5 might be a little short.
What's your key number there that we were worried about though?
53.
Yeah, see, so we're okay on that. Title, I'm sorry, I didn't jump in with you. Do you think any of these lines move?
No, the line movement, you guys are a lot more than that. I just going through, looking at them, and in my head, picking the side and what I think initially. But I'm still on the Cowboys. I am. Everything you made makes sense with the 49ers. I'm not going to bet the Cowboys. The Eagles, I agree with you. Plus 9.5 would have been tasty spread. I think that plus 8.5 is interesting, but am I really going to try and go and hammer the Eagles right now? I think I'd rather just watch that game. So I'm listening to what you guys are saying. I haven't looked at these lines yet, so it's cool.
Patriots, because actually we won't have you Friday, so I'll get these from you too. Patriots and Bills. Which way would you lean right now if you were going to bet it?
I'm Bills.
Bills. You think they cover that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's actually a bad matchup for the Patriots. The more that I look at it, let's talk about the Steelers and the Chiefs. Right now, it's plus 13, total of 47. So Tyler, right? You would think, right? You know, if I have the Raiders shirt on, I might as well have a Joey Work shirt on, right? I'm usually wanting to take the points, but
no chance.
Are we laying 13 in a playoff game, Tyler?
I'm not gonna lay it, but I'm not taking the points. I'm going to sit back and watch this team play zone all night and just get picked apart. But it's a bad matchup, but it's like this team has done so many like miraculous things this year spread.
That's true. I mean, they do have the
God forbid TJ attacks Patrick Mahomes in the first couple possessions and hurts him. Like that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Title, would you jump in on this one? I mean, normally plus 13 is just an auto take in the NFL playoffs, but you know, I was thinking about it though, like when did they just expand this, right? 2 years ago, this would have been a bye, right? Yeah. I mean, is it basically a bye? I mean, what's going on here?
You know, I think it's easiest bet of the week, as weird and maybe as fishy and donkey as it sounds. Like, if I think this is one of the worst teams, if I think it's a bottom 5 quarterback against one of the best, and like against
probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, you can say Rodgers, but I'll take Mahomes.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I was on the Mahomes like train this whole you know what I mean. Like I was saying Mahomes is going to be for sure, but you know what I'm saying. Like against one of the worst, I think in the NFL. Period. Not even in just the playoffs. Like as weird as it sounds, minus 12.5 Chiefs are my favorite bet of the week. That might sound fishy, but man,
I don't think it does. Tyler, what was the score when they played? When they play?
They beat the piss out of them. Here, I'll pull.
I mean, it wasn't even close, right? It was like one of the most boring games of the whole season.
I don't
know the final score because I turned it off.
It was 36-10.
There was NBA on,
and they had them 36-3 with like 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. All right. I think I'll lay it there. So, what do we think about the line movement? Should we grab it now, or people are going to take these points, right?
That's a Tyler question. I don't know who's going to go bet the Steelers against the Chiefs.
Just old people that take the points no matter what?
I mean, maybe, but
there's guys that have taken the points and made a living on this for the past 25 years.
Give me the under here,
though. 47?
Yeah.
Well, that concerns me a little. I mean, yeah, I don't think Ben's scoring as much. What's the team total for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think that's the best bet. So it's not listed yet, but let's see. It's a total of 47.
16.5.
Yeah, it would be 30 to 17 on a total of 47 would be, yeah.
Man, the 12.5 is my favorite. Like, yeah.
All right, and so you like the Cardinals plus 3.5 in the first ever Monday Night Football Wildcat game, Tyler? I mean, title?
I see plus 4. I'm leaning, like, I'm not going to go bet it. I mean, like Tyler said, like, these are, the past 6 weeks, I was telling myself, like, man, I'm not betting these Rams in the playoffs. I'll take dog money against them. And now we get it. And yeah, the Cardinals haven't looked great, but they got James Conner. We do have to monitor that. I saw ribs. He was beat up coming into the game too. He's a huge part of that offense. Obviously, like we saw with the 49ers, they do him. Conner's very, he runs very tough. He hard-nosed player. He can run downhill. He's big. Kirk, Ertz, like, man, I don't love this Cardinals team. Getting J.J. Watt back, I think, is really important. Chandler Jones, I think just plus 4. It's going to be in a dome, which they both obviously play in the domes, but I do like that. I think Kyler can make some plays with his legs. I think J.J. Watt's big. I'm just plus 4. I don't love it. I'm probably not going to bet it, but that is my lean.
All right. What do you think here, Tyler? Who do you like here? And should we bet it now or just wait till Friday and see if we can get more information?
I mean, just like Title said, there was 2 pictures on my wall before the playoffs started, and it was teams I'm going to fade. And it was a picture of the Rams logo and a picture of the Cardinals logo. And, of course, they had the matchup in the first round. So I'm just going to take what I think is the worst of the matchup. I just think he's the dumber coach. Give me the Rams here to win the game. I just think McVay's going to outsmart Kingsbury. Unless Hopkins miraculously steps on the field and gives Kyler that safety blanket.
There's no way to.
Yeah. I just don't see it. And if Connor doesn't play, there's no chance.
Well, then, if Connor doesn't play, then definitely jump off that. Because Richie and Chet.
The way San Fran just beat them, they won't be able to replicate that. And Kyler's not going to dice his defense up by himself.
Richie and Chad asked about Tyreek update too on his hill. He's gonna play week 1 or first game. It looks like he'll be all good.
All right, guys, this went a little long, but we had so much fun, just talking NFL. I feel like everybody enjoyed the show and didn't mind us being long-winded today. With that being said, Title, I think it's about time to wrap it up. Was there anything that I missed that I should have asked you about that you wanted to talk about?
Man, I hope the Packers get it done through Lambeau. I really do. It's going to be a lot of fun, the playoffs for sure. The Packers, you can ask for them, and they're the favorites for every reason, as they should be. It's going to be tough to tackle A.J. Dillon in the cold weather, 10 degrees in the third and fourth quarter, and the defense is wearing down. You have Rodgers, you have Adams. They should get Jair back. They're getting healthy. Bakhtiari was out there practicing. They're only getting better with the players that they haven't had most of the year. Rodgers is so locked in. I'm really, really excited. Obviously, I'm not saying go bet plus 170. We don't do that, but it's going to be fun as a Packer fan. Man, it would be cool to see the Bucs and the Packers get it done. So I'm pumped. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm pumped for next week's show with you, Title. So we'll do the review of the first 5 games, and then we get our first ever wild card. Well, just for Monday Night Football wild card showdown. But I know that you've been killing these showdown slates, so I can't wait to just to sit here and make that lineup after we've done this. And we'll only have 5 games, guys, so we won't give you a War and Peace thing. Tyler, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the people before?
Last thing before Tyler, Babowski asked about the national championship game today too. So if you have any input on that, Tyler, I'm pumped for the national championship.
That's where I was going.
Oh yeah, great job. I didn't even I was so excited about the Raiders that I forgot that they're even playing tonight. Tyler, who are you picking tonight?
I mean,
after the great setup.
The first matchup, Alabama got them.
Uh-huh.
Now, mind you, they lost their best receiver in that matchup. They still have Jamison Williams, who's the guy that takes the top off the defense. But now the guy who was the third down guy you would check down to and get your little first downs beforehand now has to become Jamison Williams with Mechie out. They don't have a third receiver to take the top off. I think this is going to be an ugly one. And I think Georgia's going to win it. You could do the money line and total points parlay.
Mm-hmm.
I would take both of Georgia to win and under and over 52.5. They're both plus 220. You come out with money either way as long as Georgia wins. Now,
You're telling me to bet against Nick Saban.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I could be a donkey getting in front of him, but I think missing his best receiver is actually going to hurt him in this matchup.
All right, Tyler, what do you think?
He lost Mechie around halftime last time, and they had already had a lead, and then he threw that big touchdown pass. They gave him a 14-point lead.
Man, this is a good Georgia made me a lot of cheese, and I went big on them against Michigan. I just thought it was a complete mismatch, and the line was wrong. I mean, man, it's so the books minus 2.5 Georgia. So they're saying, which you really, surprised me right when I saw the opening line. It's man, Alabama just ran them off the football field. Georgia was favored that game. Is this the books don't want to say that their first line was just way off, and way wrong? That was my first thought, seeing minus 2.5. I'm not going to give out a play. I'm gonna try and listen to other people because I always try and bet, get a good chunk on the national championship. There's no Monday night on today, so I want to watch it and have. So I was hoping if Tyler likes Georgia, maybe I do go there. The under you said you like. I want to bet a team though. Usually I don't know. I'm not going to give anything out. Saturdays college football and they're on most. I do MMA a lot. That's mainly what I watch. So I'm no
expert. T's with me.
Let's check in with the chat. Richie Smalls, first of all, always reminds me I'm terrible at this. Please hit the like and subscribe. Right, we've been doing 90 minutes for you guys. Keg's live show only $39.99. He likes Georgia. Andrew Melville says Bama at plus money, can't not take that. Richie Smalls agrees. He says Bryce Young, he wins it. Mike 87 Kush says can't pass, getting plus odds on Alabama. But Terry, Uncle T comes back, says Georgia if you like money, and you know that you do. If you watch,
I can tell you one thing: if Bryce Young dices up this defense with one star receiver and a bunch of bums playing the other receiver spots, I don't want to hear any arguments that there's a quarterback better than him in college football right now.
I
Like,
mean,
the
I wish
dude's
I could make that argument, but I
head
don't
and
know
shoulders
enough.
better than everybody. If
I
he
can't
does
even make
this.
like a smart comment there, like a smart out comment.
I'm agreeing with a lot of the chat. Like, man, I just see Alabama at plus money, and
Yeah.
you just don't get that. I mean, maybe injuries.
Does it worry you that
like-
they're going to be missing a guy that took 8 targets, 6 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown last game?
Yeah, that guy's.
But it's Alabama. Don't they just pull 5 stars? Like,
it's not the same though, Spread. This isn't the same revolving door they've had for the past few years. Like, these guys behind Mechie.
They do have this white. They rolled out this white guy as a third. That's why Uncle T and Big T have to be all in Georgia. They got this,
Slade. They rolled out Slade Bold, and they're like, can't bet him now.
Yeah, no, that's what happened. Now
that's the other thing too. Rob Sports. Bama's got some offensive linemen hurt. We seen Bryce Young under pressure this year. He might be under some real pressure tonight.
Y'all are talking me into Georgia. You really are, because I mean, man.
Richie's talking about betting Bryce Young to win the Heisman next year. I mean, we did it this year, 14-1. He's 2-1 next year, so hopefully we get some value on there eventually.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. It really will be. I'm pumped.
All right, guys. Well, to close the show, Richie Smalls always does it for me. Please do hit the like and subscribe. You know, we do this for you guys. This is a free show, so we hope you appreciate it. Of course, check out runpuresports.com. You kind of got some amateur analysis there on the game, but of course, if you do want to get the winning cores for tonight's game, you know, you don't want to just bet aside. You want some DFS action too. Run Pure Sports. We'll have you covered. If you're not already a member, use the promo code GetBets to become a member. And I'd just like to close by saying one thing, gentlemen. It is the autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. Not tied, won.